Hello Formula One fans! Welcome to Formula Pun Racer, the channel where car racing and comedy collide. At long last, with less than a month away before the lights go out and away we race in Formula One, there are 20 drivers, 10 teams, but one champion awaiting in 2024, and they'll have 24 races. So let's find out who's driving for which team, shall we? Last year's Constructors champion, Red Bull, has the same driver lineup as last year. Last year's champion, Max Verstappen of the Netherlands, and Mexico's Sergio Perez will be driving the two Red Bull cars with Honda power. Its sister team, formerly known as Scuderia AlphaTauri, will also have Honda power, but it's gone through a very bizarre name change, and it's now known as the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls team, or for short, V-Carbs. Yeah, I know. Pretty bizarre, isn't it? Like, V-Carbs. Pretty unusual title, isn't it? But if it brings money in the bank, then business can have unusual names and titles these days, can they? As long as it means profit. In any case, the Honda-powered racing team will have Yuki Tsunoda of Japan in the first car and Australia's Daniel Ricciardo in the second. No doubt, if he wins some races, it's steak and shrimp on the barbie for us all. As for the Hinwil Switzerland-based team known as Sauber, which has had Alfa Romeo as its primary sponsor from 2018 up until last year, well, unfortunately, it may have the same drivers, but the name Alfa Romeo is out.
No! No, I
Whoa! What a way for Alfa Romeo to go out, huh? Well, just let me get back with the video, shall I? Anyway, if you're wondering if Alfa Romeo is out at Sauber, what's the team name is going to be? Well, it's not going to be Sauber F1, and the car's colors are going to go from red, black, and white to green and black, but its driver lineup is the same as last year as well. Finland's Valtteri Bottas and China's Zhou Guanyu, and the Ferrari power units will once again give those cars some power, and the official name of the team is now Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber. I know, ginormously weird names, Stake and Kick, for this Swiss-based team. It's going to be that way until 2026 when Sauber gets rebranded as the official Audi team. But for now, we'll just have to deal with the Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber for now. But it's going to be hard to comprehend. But anyway, Stake is an official online casino company based in Curacao, and it also supports Kick.com, which is an online live streaming video service, if you're wondering. So Stake.com and Kick.com is where you can learn more about these very unusual names. And that's how it is, so let's see if its drivers, Valtteri Bottas of Finland and China's Zhou Guanyu, can kick ass on the track. The Grove-based F1 racing team they call Williams will once again have Mercedes power units and be piloted by Alexander Albon of Thailand and Logan Sargent of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Dorilton Capital may now own the team, but it just goes to show by keeping the name Williams, where there's a Williams, there's a way for these drivers. The Ferrari-powered Haas team will once again have the word Haas as their main sponsor all over the car. Pretty unsurprising, though. But this year they also have a new secondary sponsor to go with it, and that's MoneyGram. Well, hopefully they can cash in some good success this year compared to last year with their driver lineup of Germany's Nico Hülkenberg and the Danish butter cookie they know as Kevin Magnussen. Hopefully this team will not be a Haas-bin. Oh, sacré bleu, mesdames et messieurs. When it comes to anything French in Formula One, the Alpine Renault team is the only French team with the only French car and engine lineup. Renault in the backs, and the only French drivers in Formula One thus far, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly, who both have one career victory to their Formula One career. So when it's lights out and away we go, oh, the competition is Ocon and Pierre is gonna Gasly up. The Mercedes-powered Mclaren F1 racing team, based in Woking, England, will house Britain's Lando Norris, who has renewed his contract to stay with McLaren, and Oscar Piastri of Australia to be his teammate. Norris and Piastri, between the two last year, took 8 podium finishes, and with Lando Norris also finishing second in Britain, as well as leading the first 4 laps, he got his money's worth, and McLaren were really pleased about this. And because of Piastri and Norris's combined 8 podium finishes last year, it helped them finish 4th in the points. Oh boy. Not bad for the Bristol man. Go Lando!
Hello, what have we here?
Okay, maybe I should have mentioned from the beginning that the driver lineup for this year is unchanged from last year, but this is for the benefit of those who have yet to know who's driving for which team in 2024. So I'll continue with the factory Mercedes team based in Germany. Although the factory is based in Brackley, England, it has an all-British driver lineup, consisting of George Russell, whose latest victory in F1 was at the 2022 Brazilian GP at Interlagos, and his teammate is 7-time world champion from Stevenage, England, Lewis Hamilton. But interestingly enough, a bizarre future awaits at the end of 2024 for this Stevenage champion, as this will be his last season driving with Mercedes.
Say what?
What? Because Aston Martin probably didn't have a prayer because of Red Bull's damn dominance last year with Max Verstappen, you could say that without Red Bull in the way, Aston Martin probably would have won a few races last year, as Fernando Alonso of Spain took 8 podium finishes last year. 3 of them were second-place finishes in Canada, Monaco, and Zandvoort, Holland. But it was quite an interesting performance, despite the fact the team fell back to 5th last year, mostly because Fernando was doing all the work and Lance wasn't doing so great. But once again, this year it is the 2-time world champion of Spain, Fernando Alonso, and Canada's Lance Stroll, who is the son of Daddy-O Larry-O Stroll, or Lawrence Stroll if you like, who is the chairman of Aston Martin. So once again, here's hoping Lance can stroll into victory for once. And Fernando, can you hear the drums? Let's see if they are the drums beating to victory for Aston Martin in the future. But good luck with Lance, eh? At long last, the 10th and final team to talk about in F1, the one and only Scuderia Ferrari! Oh boy. And once again, it will maintain the 2 Chucks gunning for over $1 million. In other words, Charles Leclerc of Monaco has renewed his contract with the Scarlet team. However, his Spanish teammate Carlos Sainz Jr. is in his final year with Ferrari and his contract will expire at the end of this season. Which brings me to my next point. Since I mentioned earlier about Lewis Hamilton in his final season with Mercedes this year, well, after 6 seasons beginning with McLaren from 2008 to 2012 and 11 seasons with Mercedes, all of which had Mercedes engines behind him in every race he's done, in 2025, oh boy, you're in for a special treat, because if you're a fan of Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari, well, Lewis, in 2025, has signed up to race with Charles Leclerc at Ferrari! That's just too funny a reaction. Harland Williams, you indeed are an international treasure. A little overreacting to Lewis Hamilton going to Ferrari. But still, no, I'm not laughing at you, Lewis. I mean, like, the fact that you're going to Ferrari is super sweet. I was wondering if it was ever going to happen. I'm sure Lewis Hamilton will do very well at the Italian Stallion stables. Naturally, this opens the door for who's going to race at Mercedes in 2025 alongside George Russell. Could it possibly be Fernando Alonso, who might jump ship to Aston Martin? That is not confirmed at this point, as Aston Martin has definitely got Fernando Alonso under contract talking terms, but nothing's final yet. And for the moment, Fernando's pleased, but he's considering Mercedes' plan B. And this begs the question, where does this leave Carlos Sainz Jr. in 2025? That is yet to be decided, although it's possible that in 2026 he might go to Team Audi when Sauber switches to the name Audi because of the commitments that he and his father have in special ways, like Carlos Sainz Sr. has raced it with Audi recently in the Dakar Rally Series, so that makes sense for his son to follow suit. And there you have it. But now, that's the 2024 driver lineup, and with 24 different races this year, it's 24 unique challenges, and the most races held in a single season for that matter. And it all starts on March 2nd in the desert of Bahrain. The following week, March 9th, it is Jeddah International Circuit in Saudi Arabia. And then on March 24th, it is Albert Park in Melbourne, Australia. So once again, let's see if Daniel Ricciardo and Oscar Piastri can qualify great on home soil. On April 7th, after you've thrown a steak and shrimp on the Barbie, you can now throw some teriyaki chicken and rice onto their bocces as the Formula One world heads to the island of Japan for the Suzuka Grand Prix. Hometown for Honda Power and Yuki Tsunoda. Oh, no doubt about it. Red Bull and V-Carb racing team will be a force to be reckoned with. And I have my money on Max winning that one once again, so at least something Japanese will come good out of this. Then April 21st, which happens to also be my little sister's birthday, and Her Majesty the late Queen Elizabeth II, April 21st, F1 jumps ship from Japan to Shanghai, China for the Chinese Grand Prix. Just what Zhou Guanyu called for. And on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, F1 heads to the United States for the first of 3 U.S. rounds. And the first of these 3 rounds take place in Miami. Considering it was cancelled last year, this year, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix of the Imola circuit in San Marino is expected to return on May 19th. Then a week later, on the 26th, the same day of the Indianapolis 500, is the Billionaires Playground they call the Monaco Grand Prix. But if you're not so crazy about filthy rich lifestyles, then you can tone it back a bit by getting some maple syrup to go with your pancakes, as June 9th, Formula One returns to Lance Stroll's hometown of Montreal, Canada. Oh boy, it's always exciting to see them race there, eh? No doubt the pressure will be high for Lance Stroll and Aston Martin to do well in Canada, but the following round on June 23 will be just as pressureful for Aston Martin, courtesy of Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz Jr. racing on home soil, the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. June 30th, the hills will be alive with the sounds of racing at the Red Bull Ring, the Austrian GP. Former winner is Max Verstappen, and no doubt about it, with it also being hometown for Red Bull, oh boy, it'll give you wings to fly over those hills, Max, so good luck there. If Canada, Spain, and Austria wasn't pressureful enough for Aston Martin, it's going to get pressureful still come July 7th, because all the team personnel have to do is, from the factory, shuffle their feet across the street to the Silverstone circuit for the British Grand Prix. Home race for Aston Martin. And here's hoping that they can get a big cup of tea with this one. Oh boy. And if you're hungry for more excitement, the Hungarian Grand Prix takes place July 21st at the Hungaroring. And with Max Verstappen being as dominant as he is, I wouldn't be surprised if his rivals see him as a big Budapest. The next 2 rounds of the F1 season will take place consecutively in the European lowlands. First on July 28th, will be the tricky and exhilarating Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium, followed a month later on August 25th by the ever-so-popular Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. And like the last 3 races in a row there, we can probably expect Max Verstappen to take it to the max to the delight of the Dutch fans. No question about it. It seems like a safe bet he's going to win once again.
I told you the British believe me. I told you. Yeah. I told you.
Bedankt, Euro and Krabbe. Thank you for your Dutch hindsight and believing that Max will probably win on home soil for the 4th time in a row, but only time will tell. The next round, September 1st, the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, home soil to Ferrari. Let's see how the Italian stallion does on home soil. They haven't won on home soil since 2019 with Charles Leclerc, but it was a memorable one at that. The next round after that, September 15th, is Baku, Azerbaijan, followed a week later on the 22nd, the streets of Marina Bay in Singapore, where last year was the only non-Red Bull victory, and it was won by Ferrari's Carlos Sainz Jr. of Spain, Viva Italia and Viva España to Ferrari and Carlos for making at least one non-Red Bull victory last year.
Thank God.
Grab yourself some Texas toast on October 20th because the F1 world returns to the American continent, beginning with a Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Then the next round, October 27th, it's the Mexican Grand Prix, an exciting round for local boy Sergio Perez. And now if he wins, naturally, we'll all have something exciting to talk about. November 3 is when Formula One migrates from the land of salsa to the land of samba. That would be the Brazilian Grand Prix in Sao Paulo at the Interlagos circuit. And no doubt about it, even though there's no Brazilians this year in the F1 world, they sure love their racing enough to honor the late Ayrton Senna, who passed away 30 years ago in a racing crash in San Marino, but that's what this racetrack is named famous for. And no doubt his spirit lives on and all the fans of racing in Brazil. So let's see where Order in Progress stands with this year's winner in Brazil. Then 20 days later, November 23, F1 will once again race a night race in the streets of Las Vegas. It's time to spin the wheel, shuffle those cards, and roll the dice. And we'll see who gets the biggest jackpot in this round.
I knew you'd say that.
The final two rounds of the Formula One season will end in the Middle East, starting with December 1st at the Qatar Grand Prix, then 1 week later, December 8th, in Fazza's hometown of Dubai, or the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the Yas Marina circuit. The fireworks will flare up when the checkered flag flies for this final round, and that, everyone, is the 2024 racing season lineup for the cars and the tracks of the Formula One season. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like this video, please share, subscribe, and comment to Formula Pun Racer and check out my previous videos. And I'll see you for the next video, which I will talk of who's driving in Indy cars. See you in the next video, everyone. I'm Aaron Cylinder, firing on all cylinders.